A-do-do-do-do. We're rocking out, man.
Are we?
Welcome to the family with
Co-host Catherine Brandt.
And Andy Brant Bernard.
And that's it.
Yep.
no Alex for the entire week because she's... Now, what's Fawny doing?
Dance thing.
A dance convention, which I am
dance
joining.
convention.
I am joining this week at some point down in Orlando, Florida. Should be nice and steamy.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be nice and steamy here. Did you see the forecast for here?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much about the same as it is in Orlando.
Surprisingly.
Really. And I'm going to be inside a huge convention place, which is air conditioned, and to the hotel, which is across the street. So I'm not going to be outside a lot.
Well, according to this, it's going to be storming the entire time in Orlando. So.
Oh, well, perfect. I'm going to be indoors.
That'll be fun.
You'll be indoors anyway.
Here, it's going to be bright and sunny and.
Yeah, you're going to have a
Skin
stretch of sunshine for a switch.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be real. Well, you're going to be here for most of it.
Yeah.
We didn't. Okay, so last week we were in Idaho and Spokane, Washington.
We're talking a lot about that on the morning show.
The weather was just spectacular.
It was.
Really nice. The day after we left on the 4th of July.
Yes.
On that Friday, it got shot up into the 90s.
Yes. Yep.
Which my niece who moved to Boise, it's not Boise, it's Boise.
Oh, it's Boise? I didn't know that.
Yes, if you, now we're in the know. Yeah, Boise. You have to say it that way. It sounds funny, but it's like saying out west when you say you're going to go on a highway, you go, I'm going on the 169.
The one. Yeah.
The 169, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
you say, the before any highway numbers, which throws me off sometimes. I'm like, is there 3? How many? Why is it the 169?
The 169.
So anyway, it was just beautiful out there. Coeur d'Alene is just spectacular.
We talked about it on the morning show today. We're going to have to get your family and Alex's family and your mom and me and go out there sometime. It is just wonderful.
Well, Andy traveling with Ethan, you can barely go to lunch with Ethan.
Yep.
What are you talking about? There was a reference today to Ethan's Italian accent. Nobody knows why he has an Italian accent,
so
but he
damn
does.
Cute. I hope you're recording him with his Italian accent.
But sitting there at Benedict's, monkey bread.
Yep. I don't know where that came from, but
it's so funny.
When he was younger, he had a French accent.
Yeah. Well, and then he morphed into a little Russian. There was a little Russian in there for a minute. It's just, you have to wonder what kids hear.
Yeah. I wonder that all the time.
Yeah. It's like
for a while there, he was saying he would, instead of up there, he'd say up there.
Up there.
Up there.
Or in there, it'd be in there. It's like, where did this come from?
Well, it's like people that speak different languages, they hear things differently when we say, and when we hear people speak other languages, we hear things differently than they're actually said.
Technically, no one really speaks languages properly because we all accent it.
Yes, that's true.
It's like, if you said water to a foreigner, they think you're saying WADDER.
Water, yeah.
But we just know that actually it's water. We just say it with a D.
Right.
But everyone in every language does that, and you just don't know that until you know the language.
Right.
I have a question for you because this came up. It popped into my head watching. I don't know what the hell I was even watching, but something
popped in your head.
A British show. No, it was a British show. No, actually, it was not. It was the other. It was a New Zealand show. What's the name of that thing again? It's really good.
Brokenwood Mysteries.
Brokenwood, yeah,
Brokenwood
it's really
Mysteries.
good.
That's been on for a long time, over a decade, I think.
2014, yep, 10 seasons.
Yep.
Where did the American accent come from? Because nobody who moved here had that accent when they got here.
Well, actually, they say that the way that British people spoke 200-300 years ago is actually more similar to American.
Oh, really?
Than to modern British.
I didn't know that.
Well, if you read old text from when the Pilgrims came over, It was a lot of, hitherto and thee
Yeah.
and thou,
Yeah,
and that's how people spoke back then. And when you came to America, you wanted to assimilate. So I'm guessing you probably tried to put on that accent. It's like when we had those refugee kids from Ireland,
Yes.
summer refugees. They said that they put on a British accent so we could understand them.
Oh,
better.
really?
Yes. Because the boy, Eugene, he was very hard to understand.
He was hard to
Yes,
understand.
he was.
But Yvonne, she put on a British accent so we could understand her better.
Does anybody in the family still talk to Yvonne?
I think Alex
kind
of does.
I follow her. She follows me on like Instagram.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, she turned into a lovely young woman. She's got children. She runs marathons. I think she has like a professional job of some kind, but she mostly talks about her marathoning and her children. Yeah, she's very.
But the boy, he
didn't like us.
No, he didn't care for us. I don't know what that.
No.
So what Catherine's talking about during the marching season, which that doesn't even happen in Ireland anymore, does it?
I don't think so. I think everybody's over all of the troubles.
Yeah, the troubles in Ireland.
That's all gone now.
The orange walks, they apparently they still do them.
Do they?
Do they?
Not many, but there are some.
Well, we took some children in. The parents would like to get their children out of town during the marching season in Ireland, so we would take them in. I don't know. That was out on the farm out in Dayton,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Sure was.
I thought so.
I was probably maybe 11.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, would they stay with us for like a month or something?
Yeah, about a month, I think
Yeah.
it was.
It was a while.
It was very, very nice, though, to keep the kids safe so they don't get hurt and the violence in Ireland, but it doesn't go on anymore, I guess. That's good.
No, the troubles are long over.
That's good. I'm glad to hear the troubles are over. So I don't know. It just, the whole thing is just very, very weird. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you just take one set of troubles and the
Mhm.
politicians just cause another one, don't they?
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Are they going to ever settle down?
No.
It's not going to happen. Your mother told me something last night that I don't understand how this ever happened. Didn't happen in the United States, but aren't most countries supposed to govern the will of the people?
I mean,
most don't.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, if that's ever really been true.
It might not have ever been true, but explain the election to me again in France. How did that happen?
Okay, so Marine Le Pen.
Le Pen.
Le Pen.
Le Pen. Apparently, that party is now considered, even though it's always, I don't know. Apparently, they're considered far right, which, anything left of left. I mean, right of left is now far right.
Yep.
Right.
They just call everything far right.
Everything is far right if you don't like it.
Mhm.
Anyway, they got something like 9+ million votes. And the Macron, who is disliked, apparently, got around 5 million votes. And then all of a sudden, what the current government did was they either took on or got rid of 200 seats. It's kind of like ranked choice voting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they from what I understand, and I could be wrong, but from what I can glean from all of the different reports, is that the Islamic people that are in government and the socialist people that are in government banded together to block the far right or the right. And that's exactly what happened. And I don't think there's any other way out of that right now.
I don't understand. The 9 million people wanted Le Pen, 5 million people wanted the other party, and the 5 million people somehow won.
Well,
I don't understand.
I think everybody needs to understand that if voting actually changed everything, they'd outlaw it.
Yep, exactly.
So,
yeah.
That's just how it is.
Voting is an illusion.
I think it is, to tell you the truth.
Isn't that sad?
Well, I think we're just, we've entered an era where a very small amount of billionaires have enough money to do anything and influence absolutely everybody and everything.
That's always been true, though.
Yeah, but it's right now it's just apparent because we know what they're doing, but so many people don't understand it or care because they don't believe it. They still believe in fair elections. They still believe that you can make a difference, blah, blah, blah. They believe that there is a democracy. These globalists are really running the show.
Well, I mean, George
Everywhere.
Soros bought WCCO radio. The last thing we needed was that pig in our state.
Well,
He destroyed Hungary's economy.
Well, George Soros is behind a lot of things, especially this immigration thing. He's
Yes.
been plotting this since 2015.
Yeah, he has. It's
And
true.
like they say, $10,000 will buy you a senator. So, and he's got billions.
It's very sad. And by the way, what did you tell me? His son said, if you think my father is far left,
Wait till I get in charge.
Wait till I get in
which
charge.
I believe he is in charge now.
Oh, is he in charge now?
I thought so. I thought
Well, I mean,
George.
Soros is 10 trillion years old. He
Yeah,
probably
he
can
is.
barely wake up from a nap.
No, it's a
Yeah, I mean,
possibility.
I'm sure if he's not
Let's see.
doddering and like a Joe Biden, I'm sure he's got a lot of influence on what's going
He's
on.
93, so
Oh, is he
I know,
really?
but my dad at 93 wasn't bad.
not horrible, but
No,
I don't
he
know. I don't
wasn't.
think he'd be running any countries.
No,
Probably not.
but he didn't want to do it either. When
Yes,
people are
yes.
driven by some sort of megalomaniac greed and power trip, they don't let go of that very easily. Hence, Joe Biden saying today that now that we've come back from the July 4th recess, just want everybody to just stop talking about me stepping down. It's not going to happen.
Right. He would have to agree to it, correct?
I guess.
I don't know. I still, somebody asked me about that, and I think I talked about it briefly on the morning show this morning. She's a Democrat. She's a conservative Democrat, but she's a woman of color. And why don't they go with Tulsi Gabbard? Everybody would be happy with her, wouldn't they?
Because she jumped ship.
Well, she didn't.
Yeah,
She's still a Democrat.
She's a heretic.
No, now she doesn't like any of the Democrats anymore.
Because they turned on her.
Well, she served in the a military branch,
Yes,
right?
yes, she did.
And she's she's anti-war.
Yes.
She's like, there's no reason why we should be going to war in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
We should all be able to negotiate and trade and
That's
make
why I like
everybody
her.
happy. Well, that's not really what's happening in the Democratic Party. We're not
Jesus.
doing well globally as far as
No.
the dollar is not doing well. There's countries that are looking to not even use the dollar as the standard anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of problems with wars and pissed off governments. So she said, I don't like the direction that this party's going. So she now is endorsing Trump.
But she's a Democrat.
Not anymore, apparently.
Well, they don't even
And
call her a
Democrats
Democrat anymore.
don't like it when you jump ship. They really
Oh, God.
hate you.
Why can't we have different opinions? Nothing wrong with different opinions.
Because I think that the average person is just so woefully misinformed because they just
Yeah.
watch MSNBC or something. And
Fox News on the other
and
side.
talk about globalists.
That is true. A couple of
Yeah.
headlines I want to read. Should I read the story? Barbie is pregnant.
Barbie?
That's what they're saying. The headline
The
is
doll?
Barbie is pregnant. Is
Oh,
what
they're
it
going to have.
says.
I'm surprised they didn't have a pregnant Barbie by now.
Oh, Margot Robbie and her husband. That's what they're talking about. That's why
I'm
they
sure
use
they've had a
Barbie.
mom Barbie. I guarantee it.
I don't know. I think Barbie's been a single lady forever. I
What
think
about
that's
Ken?
Ken's just a byproduct of having to have a
He
boyfriend
just has
around.
to exist.
So Margot Robbie is pregnant. At least that's what multiple sources have told People magazine. This will be the first child from Margot and her husband, Tom Ackerley. He's a producer. They made it on set of 2013 movie Sweet Francais. His credits include Tanya, Barbie, Promising Young Woman, and what is it? Saltburn? Okay.
Saltburn.
So the woman who played Barbie is pregnant. So Barbie is pregnant is a misleading headline.
Well, I think that Margot Robbie made such a huge splash with that movie that people think of her as Barbie now.
Yeah, probably true. Okay, one other thing. I did notice this at Coeur d'Alene and at Sand Point. We went to they're right there by Spokane, within 35, 40 minutes of each other. The three different places, 45 minutes to one, or 40 minutes to one, 40 minutes to the next one, that kind of deal. I don't know if you noticed this, Catherine, or not, but I did notice it because it doesn't make any sense to me. 1 in 4 young people are rocking socks with sandals. Isn't the whole point of wearing sandals to have the freedom of your feet? I mean, why would you wear socks with sandals? I don't get it.
Stop your
Well-
foot from getting sunburned or bitten by bugs.
Yeah, I
I think,
suppose.
yeah, that. And also, when you buy new sandals, sometimes they can rub you, till they're kind of broken in.
I remember getting a lot of blisters in Florida when we went to Florida, and I'd wear sandals.
Yeah,
for like,
you got a lot of blisters from sandals. So I think that's why. Also, sometimes people have funky looking feet and they just they don't want people looking at them.
Why are you looking at me right
My
now?
feet are funky looking. I got the bunions. Oy, oy, oy.
I was told as a young boy, and I still hear it today, that my feet look like northern pike. They have like a big head on the top of them or something. I don't know what it is.
Northern Pike.
Mm.
That's what I've been told. My feet look
Oh.
like northerns.
Okay.
So I don't know what the hell that means.
We should do a side-by-side comparison.
Yeah, apparently get
Facebook.
that up there all the time. Oh God, it was so hilarious that Melissa was talking to Catherine on Saturday about the posts that Catherine gets on social media. Yeah, it is pretty
Mhm.
hilarious.
They're on our web and yours on the podcast.
On the
socials,
podcast one.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They want more pictures of Nana. Nana's got to be on there. There's no question. And by the
I
way,
prefer to remain elusive.
before I move on from Nana, I would like to point out, I don't know, maybe all grandfathers feel this way, and I'm just another one that feels the same as all other grandfathers. But our 3 grandchildren could not be cuter.
They are adorable.
I mean, don't you think, Andy? All 3 and they're just so damn cute.
I mean, I don't know. I do see a lot of babies where it's like, that's a pretty ugly baby.
Oh, that's real.
But I
nice.
do wonder do the parents see it that way?
Oh, I doubt it. I wouldn't. But I mean, with Ethan and Fawn and Sage, you couldn't go any other direction. They're all 3 cute as hell.
Well, it's when you're wanting a child and you get one, you're biased first of all.
Yeah.
And you fall madly in love with your child, so of course you're going to think they're beautiful no matter what. But there are some ugly babies out there.
There are, I guess.
Seinfeld had an episode about that.
Oh, did they really, on ugly babies?
Yep.
Well, that's kind of negative.
Couple was showing off their new baby to everyone, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, look at that!"
Oh.
And then of course Kramer comes in and sees it and goes, "Whoa, that is one ugly baby."
I know somebody that had she was an ugly baby.
Yeah,
She really was, and she's turned into a beautiful young woman. So it's not always indicative of what's going to happen.
I mean, when Ethan was first born, I mean, he was jaundiced and his head was misshapen.
That's true.
and
He
it's
was a
like,
cone head.
Yeah,
He was a conehead.
He was a
not
cone
a great
head.
look.
Ethan.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that head of his for a while.
Yeah, it took a long time, but
why do babies? You see those babies with helmets on, little helmets?
we could have put him in.
Is that what that's for? Is
Yeah.
the cone head? Okay.
Or sometimes the soft spot is too big.
Oh,
And they wanna
so it
protect it.
protects it. Oh, I
But
see.
yeah, it's a lot of it is like shaping the head.
Oh, okay.
God, I got lucky on Saturday because Ethan and I were playing it. Ethan teases me and I tease Ethan. We go back
You
and forth.
two are
and-
like a couple of. Jeez.
No, that's how he is at home too. Believe me.
Yeah.
I know, but
he just goes insane
Bop
sometimes.
eggs him on.
I do not egg him on.
Yes,
What
you
What
do.
are you talking
You
about?
do not know how to unwind a child.
Mm-mm.
You know how to wind him up.
I love playing with Ethan. He's a lot of fun, except for I dodged a bullet because he threw a toy at me and it hit the chair and knocked me in the face. That would have hurt.
He like really like a pretty strong overhand throw. For
Yeah,
a
he
2-year-old.
does.
Oh
If that had
my
hit you in
God.
the head, it would have hurt a lot.
Oh, it would have hurt. And it just caught the edge of the chair
Mhm.
instead of my noggin.
So we were like, okay, time for you to go home.
Time to
I
go
know
home
those
now.
visiting toddlers are really, you got about 3 good hours.
Yeah.
And then after that, they just start getting wild. I don't know what
Mhm.
that is.
He's so much monkey bread.
Well, he's that like last night when we were trying to put him to bed. I made the mistake of he threw his pillow on the floor
Yeah.
Mhm.
because he was like doing a pillow fight thing.
With himself.
No, with me.
Oh, with you.
mostly.
Okay.
So he threw his pillow on the floor, and so what I did is I threw it up in the air, like up to the ceiling, so it would land on his bed, like a pop fly kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I called it the pillow mortar. So what he did was he started taking all of his toys, and he'd be like, Mario mortar, blanket mortar. And he would
Way
have
to
done
go,
that.
Andy.
He would have done that for a half an hour if we had let him.
Well, I suppose it's true. You led him down the wrong path. It's your fault. No question.
Oh,
He doesn't,
yeah.
not that he knows what a mortar is, but he made the association.
That's funny.
I just really do hope that, and I know it's our family and all the rest of it. But Catherine and I are so lucky because we got Andy was born and then Alex was born. They get married. They have children. I mean, I do love our family. We got a great family. Don't you think?
We do.
It's working out pretty well so far.
I
So
was
good.
reading a thread on, I think it was X, about how boomers are destroying the world.
Well, you should stop then.
Oh, they are?
Well, and the reason why we're destroying the world is because we lived during good economic times and low interest rates.
Right.
So we benefited from that,
Yes.
which is true. So we also worked harder probably than most people do
Yes,
today, I would
that's
say.
Today, yeah, I would say so.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, people don't even want to work 25 hours a week anymore. Anyway, so apparently because of building that wealth and enjoying your retirement, you're supposed to completely take care of your grown children who are struggling. They can't buy houses. They're working so hard that they don't have time to find a mate.
Oh, I bet.
And they don't think they'll ever be able to own a house while their parents are out partying and having a great time.
Yeah, but.
And I'm like, well, we put our kids through college. We paid for it. We did not force our children to have loans. And that's great because I went to college and I had loans and it took me many, many years to pay them off.
You and me both.
Yes,
just you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we helped our children with their first car. And we also helped them with their down payments. So we did give them a nice head start.
Yeah, I mean, I plan on, doing what I can for Ethan.
Well, absolutely.
But it's like, I don't think that he's beholden to, or I'm beholden to give him everything.
Well, and it's not like we are sitting there, like out at the bar every night, partying hard.
Right.
And traveling constantly.
There's a lot of older people who do. All they do is travel and go on cruises nonstop. Just piss away all their money.
Well, you know what? If that's what they want to do with their, 40, 50 years of hard work, then I guess, God bless. But, to say that every boomer is ruining the world and ruining their children's lives, that's what the thread was.
Well, it's just, the whole, mom and dad, I hate you, you're ruining my life thing that most people grow out of, but not everyone.
But I mean, should a 40-year-old person, a 35-year-old person expect their parents to be contributing to their lives?
If you're like, going to be homeless or something, I'd say probably, yeah. But if it's like, oh, I don't have the funds to go to the bar on the weekends, give me money, that's just entitlement.
Yeah.
Like you should prevent your children from suffering and dying.
Well,
but you shouldn't have to subsidize their luxury is what I'm saying.
I suppose, but I mean, that was a World War II thing, I think, more than anything.
What?
Because after World War II, our parents came home. Our fathers and mothers came home from the war and wanted to give more to their families because they saw how horrific life could be.
Well, and a lot of those parents lived through Depression times too.
Yeah.
They knew what it was like to be absolutely starving to death. So, yeah.
So, I mean, basically, because of the way I grew up very, very poor, I suppose that is part of it because I wanted our children to have things that I never had.
I know, but on the other side, when I used to ride horses and there was a lot of wealthy people in that world, there was one in particular that was incredibly wealthy and he wouldn't even give his kids money to go to college. They had to get a scholarship.
Yep. I remember
they had to. And I remember those girls being very upset about that because, well, first of all, if you're super, super wealthy, like you got a couple of billion.
That's a lot of money.
Why would you take a scholarship away from a
for real
poor person?
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely right.
I mean, it would be one thing if you were contributing money to scholarship funds.
Yeah, exactly.
And then telling your kids that they had to do something. And I do understand also, because we've had that conversation before where we've known very, very wealthy people whose kids have to go out and be normal, and it's
Mhm.
very difficult for them to live the
Yep.
I don't have a private jet lifestyle.
Yeah.
I can't afford, what my parents had.
It's like a reverse Rumspringer.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand, if you make your kids stand on their own 2 feet early, they're going to learn that lesson early, which is good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just like don't take things away from other people, like the
But don't-
scholarship thing. It's like
yeah, how about you
there's
just
only so much scholarship money
Well,
to go
or-
around.
yeah, because you could say, okay, so you got a scholarship, that's great. You're going to decline it,
Yeah, exactly.
and because you got one, I will pay for your college.
Or it's like you make them go through it and then you take off the mask and you say, it was me the whole time.
Yeah,
It's not
Yeah.
a
There
real
you go.
scholarship. It was a test.
something like that. Yeah, because to me, that's really obnoxious.
Yeah.
If you can afford to pay for college. And of course, now I think that college is a complete 100% scam.
Yes, it is.
And the reason why
No
college
doubt.
is so expensive is because of the student loan process.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So now that Biden is just buying votes with tuition forgiveness, is that going to tumble the college? The tuition loan industry?
No, it'll keep going up because now it's subsidized. The loans don't go away. They're getting repaid by our tax dollars.
Yes.
So now that they know that these loans are basically like the government's going to take care of them, so they'll just keep jacking up the price.
But he's not forgiving absolutely everybody's student loans.
That's enough of it, though.
Well, is it a lottery? How's he picking and choosing whose loans he gets rid of? I mean,
have no idea.
I'm sorry, but I don't really want to subsidize somebody that's taking underwater basket weaving and dance for a,
Yeah, but those people
sorry.
are most likely to vote correctly, so they're
Yep.
probably going to get it.
It's all about money and votes, isn't it? Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything now is about money, unfortunately.
Well,
But
that's
it is.
good.
See, the Higher Education Act, up to $20,000 in interest. Oh, so not the principal, just interest.
What?
This student debt thingy.
Oh,
Well, I don't understand. Why would you borrow money if you can't repay it?
Because you have to. You have to go
Well-
to college. Everyone.
well, the thought process is you go to college for 4 years, you borrow money for 4 years, you get a good job because you've gotten through college.
Mhm.
Yeah, which that's where the lie falls apart. But that's what we're told.
This is true.
Go to college and you're guaranteed a good job forever.
Well, you might have been, but now, with college costing so very much, it doesn't
Mhm.
really pan out anymore,
Well,
does
not
it?
to mention there's no bar. Everyone goes to college now, so it doesn't tell you anything. It's like a college degree is about as useful as a high school diploma at this point because everyone gets one.
Yeah.
It doesn't
true.
tell potential employers anything except that you're willing to do 4 more years of school.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, I did my day at college.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
I just, like I said, it's going to be interesting in the next 20 years what the new realities are going to be
No question.
for every institution. Because, I mean, the only things that are growing are healthcare and government. All
Healthcare
other
is blowing
sectors
up.
are shrinking.
Yep. Very
and not
true.
doing well. So if we're only going to be a service industry and basically a money cycle,
Yeah, money printing cycle.
printing cycle, what does that? I just don't understand how that is a sustainable practice. I mean,
Mhm.
not everybody is going to be. Once the boomers die off, the healthcare industry should probably shrink for a while, right? Oh, no, because they're replacing the boomer population with migrants
Yes, they
who a
are.
lot of times come from poor countries and have health issues.
Yep, sure do.
Oh, that's why that's growing so much. Okay,
Mhm.
now I get it. All right.
There you
I just
go.
talked my way through it. Okay.
Very good, Catherine. You got the
Got it.
You solved it. No problem.
Got it.
I do remember when I was a little kid, a story just popped up on my screen here. I remember when I was a little kid, I was always told that Minnesotans are the most passive aggressive people in the United States. I think in my generation, that was probably true. They're very passive aggressive. They'll say something to your face and then stab you right in the back.
Yes, I would say that's true.
Right. Well, apparently now it's not just Minnesota. It's the entire United States is very passive aggressive. Do you agree with that?
Mm,
I don't know about passive.
I guess I
They're
haven't
aggressive,
spent
yeah.
enough time dealing with people in like realistic,
Yeah, that's true.
situations. When you go on a trip, you're talking to people in the service industry that are trained to be nice to you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you never
I
really
don't
know.
really know.
Well, there are 6 examples. Are you a passive aggressive person and you don't even know it? Someone asked psychology experts for phrases people don't realize are passive aggressive. And here are the top 6. So I'll scroll down to number 6. Number 6, you're just too sensitive. It discounts their feelings and shifts the blame onto them so you don't have to apologize or feel bad.
I mean,
True.
sometimes it's true though.
That was mostly like a dad or a grandparent thing, though, wasn't it? Oh, you're just too sensitive.
Yeah.
No, I think that
No?
that's a very common thing.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
Although today
Today, yeah,
people are so easily triggered, they
Yep.
are very sensitive.
Yeah,
So
well, that's a
there
good
might be
point.
some more reality to that nowadays.
That's very true. Now, I do remember my grandparents saying, if you say so.
Well, that's just a conversation ender.
It's dismissive and implies that you don't really believe what they're saying, but you're also shutting down the conversation.
Yeah.
Like you said, they end the
Yeah, that's
conversation
just
with,
a way
well,
to-
if you
Yeah.
say so.
It just means I don't want to talk anymore.
I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, you could see that also as just being an escape, like, okay,
Sure,
like,
whatever.
like talking to my one brother about politics.
Yeah.
He's just like such a,
Yeah. He's
So
never going to
entrenched.
agree
So
with anything you
entrenched.
say.
yeah, it wouldn't matter if Governor Waltz went out and, murdered babies in the street. He would have a really good reason for it. And you would be still a fascist pig if you didn't like that. So for him,
Yeah. Why have the conversation? It's only going to go one
yeah,
way
if
every
you say
single
so,
time.
is this the way to just
Yep.
get out of it? Walk away.
Yes, get away quickly. Number 4 is whatever. You might use it when you're throwing in the towel, like, I don't really want to watch that movie, but whatever.
Right.
Either get on board for real or stick to your guns. Yeah, whatever. I had friends. Yeah, whatever.
I don't know. I say whatever, but I also mean it.
Well, yeah, because
whatever.
I mean, a lot of I pick my battles. It's like stuff I
Yeah.
really don't care about is whatever. I'm not
Right.
really. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter to me at all. So
I'm not quite a Xennial, I don't think.
yeah,
Like, what is a Xennial? Let's see. Xennial birth. So that'd be Gen X and Millennial combined. Xennial.
Okay.
Xennial. 77 to 83. So I'm not quite there, but I was exposed to enough of their culture as a kid that I have that same attitude of, I don't really want to put a whole lot of energy or effort into something that I don't care that much about.
Mhm.
Like picking a movie.
yeah,
It's like, for the most part, whatever.
right.
I don't care enough
Right.
unless it's something
You don't
like
care enough to
absolutely
spend 40
loathsome.
minutes looking for a movie?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if Melissa makes me pick a movie, I will spend 40 minutes because it's like I don't really care enough to pick anything.
Right.
Well, movies aren't anywhere near as. For a while they got good, and now they're horrible.
We don't
again.
watch new movies almost ever.
They're
Yeah,
terrible.
They're not good.
Pixar is like the only, like we're gonna go see Inside Out too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New Pixar movies we watch, but other than that, the newest movie I think we've seen that wasn't animated, which is debatable, but was Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh yeah.
And that was, arguably an animated film because it's 90% CGI, but still. And that was what, 4 years ago?
Yeah, that's a while ago.
Yep.
The one thing I want just before we move on from that is it really does break my heart that movie theaters are closing everywhere.
They're all,
They're all closing. The one over in St. Louis Park over there.
The one in West Palm Beach. Yeah. Well,
one
they
in
tore
West Palm
that
Beach,
down.
They tore it down.
They
Yeah.
tore
It's
it
gone,
down.
yeah.
Yeah, that big theater.
But I mean, that one over there at what is that area even called?
Here in Minnesota?
Yeah, it's right
Oh, the
next
West
door to us
End
here.
Theater.
West End. Yeah,
Mhm.
West End theaters. There were 11 of them, and they closed, and they're not going to reopen.
Nope.
That's really too bad.
It's a big footprint.
It is.
Yeah.
And even a relatively small theater is massive because
Mhm.
one screen, I mean, what is the size of a single screen? Like a room. It's
Oh,
got
God.
to be like 100 by 100 square feet.
Yeah, it's got to be.
So you put 10 of those in one building, you got a city
Well,
just for watching movies.
don't you think they could have gone from the megaplex down to something,
Well,
like
that's what I thought
it used
they'd
to
do.
just be one screen.
Yeah, just
It was,
maybe
yeah.
2, maybe 3, maybe 4,
Yeah,
but no bigger than that.
yeah,
We
the
don't need these airplane hangars full of
Well,
screens.
I just think also the Hollywood movie days are just over. They
Seems
just
like
don't
it.
make anything
of
good anymore.
movies that everyone has to see.
Well, they did that whole everything was Marvel, everything was
Yeah.
Marvel, everything was Marvel, everything was Marvel for how many
Yeah,
years?
it was a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Endgame was like the last of the movies where it's like everyone went and saw, I think. Even Star Wars, by the time episode 9 or whatever came out, people were just like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And the Barbie movie, that was a huge draw to theaters. People wanted to see it in theaters. I watched it on an airplane.
Yawn.
And it was actually what was that other one about the space program in the desert, or the space thing in the desert?
Space thing in the desert.
A movie?
Let's Google that. Space
Yeah.
thing in the desert.
Movie. Make sure you put movie. Yeah, the one that was shot really cool. It was like in the desert, and I talked about it with Kristen. It was a couple of years ago, I think. What was it called? I liked that movie. But it was slow.
The Martian?
Yeah.
The Martian was like 10 years ago.
No, it
almost.
wasn't The Martian then. What the heck? Why do I think it was The Martian?
Arrival?
It was.
That was 9 years ago.
No, it was just, it's
Or 8
2
years
years, 2 or 3 years maximum. It was about, yeah.
2021. Let's see. Stowaway?
No,
Tides? Voyagers? Oxygen?
No.
Space Sweepers? Settlers?
no,
Warning?
no,
Planet B? Battle in Space? Oh, you're talking about Dune.
no,
Yes, Dune was the big one.
no.
Oh, well, Dune was a big one, which I forgot about. I can't
Yeah,
believe
but we
I didn't
only
think
have
about
one,
it.
we only have one Dune, one Barbie, every maybe year, sometimes 2 to 3 years before you have something like
Right.
that, where
Right.
everybody goes to see it, is kind of my point.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is not a space movie.
How did that pop up?
It took space and sci-fi as synonyms, and it's also debatable. I mean, yeah, it's a sci-fi movie,
God,
I
I
guess.
can't even think of who was in it. I'm seeing visions of the movie flashing, but I'm not like honing in on anything.
Space movie in a desert.
Well, space program. It wasn't about going into space.
Well, then what was it about?
Tom, usually you help me out
Are you
with these
talking
things.
about Oppenheimer?
No,
Because that's not about space.
Oppenheimer was a good movie.
That
But
was a
it
good
was in the
movie, yeah.
desert, and it was about science.
No, this was oh God.
Andy, I didn't know until that movie was
Where's
made
my phone?
that Truman bombed Japan after they surrendered. I never knew that was true.
Well, most people don't know that we basically burned Tokyo to the ground.
Yeah.
Killed a whole lot of people.
Yeah, for just to test if nuclear weapons work.
Well, the idea was that the Japanese were so imperialistic that the only thing that they would accept was total subjugation. And I mean, it's debatable whether or not that's true, but they were definitely like, they wouldn't accept unconditional surrender unless they absolutely had to.
Right.
So the theory is that if we hadn't dropped the nukes, then they would have just kept fighting, and we would have had to do it the conventional way, which is firebombing and a land invasion,
Mhm.
which would have been a lot worse. I mean, dying to a nuke isn't great, but dying to a firebomb is pretty much one of the worst ways to go.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the movie Oppenheimer. They brought that up that Japan had already surrendered when Truman dropped the bomb on.
But do
Joe
we believe
says-
what movies have to
Well,
say about
that's true,
historical
too.
events?
I don't know
Very
about
true.
that. Joe says Asteroid City.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yay,
Joe nailed
I
it.
have never even. What the hell is Asteroid City?
It's actually pretty good. It's a little slow, but the way they filmed it was really cool.
It's from last year.
last year. Okay, so I was off by a couple of years.
But
It was
other
only
than that,
last year. God, that seems old
A
now.
Junior Stargazer Convention.
Yes.
Kind of 1950s.
Who was in
but
that?
Also not 100 billion people.
Yeah, but I mean, who were the stars? They were big stars.
Starring Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Jeffrey Wright,
That's
Tilda
right.
Swinton, Bryan Cranston, Edward
Jesus.
Norton,
Yeah.
Adrian Brody, Liv Schreiber, Hope Davis, Stephen Park, Rupert Friend,
don't
Maya
remember this
Hawke,
stuff?
Steve
God,
Carell,
yeah.
Matt Dillon, Hong Chow, Willem Dafoe, Margot Robbie, Tony
Margot Robbie was in
Revolori,
there. That's why I started thinking about that movie, because we were talking about Margot Robbie.
Jake Ryan, and Jeff Goldblum.
Ah,
God, that's a lot of
So
people in that
everyone,
movie.
yep.
everybody was in that
Everyone
movie.
was. I had never even heard of this.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Huh.
You know, it does show the changes in culture, though, because when I was a kid and all the way through my teen years and, well, up until like 20 years ago, television was television, and a lot of people watched television, and movies were movies. They were completely separate things. And now with streaming, you've brought the movie theater to your house.
Yeah. What's the difference, really? Honest.
Well,
And especially because so many shows are like, it costs $100 million to produce one episode, and the
Yeah.
episode is like 80 minutes long. So
Mhm.
it's basically a movie. What's the difference between an
Right.
episode of, Game of Thrones and a movie?
right.
There's basically nothing.
That's true. And and Tom, you brought up a point the other day when we were talking about this. I don't know why. Oh, because when we were up in Sand Point, there was one of those old timey
Oh, yeah.
small town
Beautiful.
theaters that was running
Beautiful.
some really old movies, and it was like $1 on Tuesday. You could
Oh,
go
yeah.
see an old movie.
Yep.
At the Penny Arcade.
And we started talking about, a part of it too is that people have gotten so rude.
Very
This is
rude.
true.
You go into a theater, you don't know if somebody's going to sit there talking on their cell phone the entire
Yep.
time, or texting, or their screens are constantly on. I mean, even in Disney World. Last time we went and saw which ride was it?
No, we're gonna have to ask Joe, because Joe knows how you think.
Apparently.
Carousel of Progress.
Oh yeah.
There's
yeah.
people filming the entire thing on
Yep.
their cell phones. They're holding it up in front of their faces with the lights on,
Right.
filming it. And
I
you're just like,
know.
this is wrecking the experience for everybody with your glaring light.
Yeah.
I mean, people have just gotten to be so rude.
Well, the thing is, they have camcorders that don't have like big bright
I
screens
know,
on
but
them.
they're
so you
carrying around
can-
their phone, so
but
they're
they're-
going to
you
carry
got
their
your phone. That's what you're
Yeah,
gonna use.
That's what they're going to use.
So was that Jumanji we went to see, and we
Yep.
bought special
Oh, the
seats
butt
that-
shaker
the butt
seats.
shaker seats and all that,
Jumanji.
Yeah.
and 7 or 8 young girls did not pay the extra money for those seats, but they sat in them and talked on their phone the whole damn movie.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. There were like 6, 7 young girls talking on their phone the entire movie.
Well, I remember back when Andy and Alex were in their teens, that was a thing, to drop kids off at the movie
Yeah,
theater.
yep.
Then you'd go out and have dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'd go pick them up in about 2 hours. And a lot of times the kids were out to socialize. Everybody knew to stay away from the theaters on
Yeah.
Friday. Usually it was Friday nights, it seemed like, for sure, that they were just, swarmed with kids, and to stay away from those movies that the kids would go to. But now, like I said, there's kids, they are dropped off and picked up 6 hours later because
Yep.
they're jumping theaters,
Yeah.
and nobody cares anymore because there's
They
nothing
really
going
don't.
on in there.
I am going to miss going to the movie, though. Michelle Mann and I talk about that all the time, that I really, really miss those days when people would go and it was a very special event. And
Well, the Edina Theater, I'm sure there still are some independent theaters where
yeah,
people aren't going to go to bother people because there's just not enough happening for teenagers. It's not in a mall,
Right.
to go in and wreck it. Although the last time I had an altercation with somebody, it was a father taking his kids into the theater, and he was texting on his phone the entire time. And I finally said, enough already. He's like, but I've been texting the whole time. Why do you care now? I said, because I thought maybe you'd stop at
Yeah.
some point.
Maybe you were like texting something important, but
And then, of course, I was the bitch. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. You're
I
spending
know.
quality time with your children checking out. You're not even
Yep.
bothering watching the movie with
Right.
your kids. And
That's
I'm
very
the bad
true.
guy. Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, we've gotten through You're Just Too Sensitive, If You Say So, and whatever. We moved on to number 3, It's Fine. Especially when it's obviously not fine. You're avoiding the confrontation when you should really just tell them how you feel. Yeah, I've never done that. Oh, it's fine.
I say it all
Yeah.
the time.
It's another way to just disengage.
To who?
I
Anybody.
don't know.
You for sure.
If you don't care
Oh,
enough.
it's fine.
Well, you have such big feelings that a lot of times it's just not worth.
I do have big feelings.
Yeah,
that's
your
true.
feelings are big all
They
the
are.
time, and it's just to me, it's like my feelings are not that strong about it. I mean, if it's something I feel strongly about, then I'm going to say what I feel.
Right.
But if I don't have strong feelings about something, I'm not going to get into a big 40-minute discussion about something I really don't care that much about.
They did a good job here because you go from number 3, it's fine, to number 2, I'm sorry you feel that way, which is basically what we were just saying. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Well, that's a way of not apologizing.
That's exactly what it
Yeah.
says. People use it as a non-apology.
Yep.
The non-apology. Like, I'm not sorry for what I did, but I'm trying to sound like I am.
Uh-oh.
Instead of taking responsibility, you're placing the blame on the other person's feelings. And the number one, I gotta put my hand up. I used to use it. I don't anymore, but I used to use it all the time. It's passive aggressive if there's secretly resentment or envy behind it. Oh yeah, good for you. I do remember a lot of people used to say, "Ah, good for you." You don't hear that much anymore, though, do you?
Well, you could actually mean it, couldn't you?
You, I suppose, yeah.
Oh, I
Like,
suppose,
you know,
yeah, it could
the
be good for you.
Australians say good on you.
Good on you. Yeah,
We
that's
use
true.
it on Ethan a lot
Yeah.
when he says, like, we were driving to her mom's house yesterday, and about 20 minutes into the drive, he says something, and Melissa goes, "What?" And he says, "I have eyebrows." It's like, what else can you say but, good for you.
I
Yes,
have
you
eyebrows.
You
do.
certainly do. Mama has eyebrows. Yes, she does.
Oh God, I
So we
know.
took Ethan to go see this little train
Mhm.
display. It's it's got a trolley on the top rail and
a
a
cable car. He said
cable
it's a
car.
cable car.
and
Yeah.
and it's got a regular train on the lower, and it goes through a little village.
Very cool.
And he's like, little train,
Little train,
little train, because right across from there is some railroad tracks.
Yes.
The big
And last
train.
week when he was there, he saw the big train
That
go
was a
by.
big train. God, there must have been 100 cars on that
Yeah,
thing.
so it's interesting that he's making those connections.
He sure is.
Figuring out the world.
I have eyebrows. I suppose it
Mhm.
just strikes you at some point, and you go, "Oh, you know
Yeah.
what? I didn't even know that."
Never noticed him
And
before.
I guess he's quite the angler.
Yeah, I mean, Melissa was holding the rod, but he helped reel it in, and he helped take the fish in, and everything.
Fawn likes to fish too.
Oh, Fawny loves
she'll
to
take
fish.
the gross fish off there. She'll stick the gross worm on there. She'll
Mhm.
do all that stuff, which I used to do as a kid, and now I'm like, no, thank
Well,
you.
as a kid, I used to do all sorts of gross stuff that I wouldn't do today because, you don't really process it so much. It's like the reason it's gross isn't because it feels slimy or whatever. It's because fish are full of parasites. Gross.
Fish are full of. I didn't know that they're full of parasites.
They absolutely are.
Really?
Yep.
I've never been a fish guy.
That's
I've been fishing like twice in my life.
one of the reasons it's basically impossible to get fresh crab or lobster without like buying a live one and then boiling it
Mm-hmm.
is because they're so full of just like bacteria and stuff that once you kill them, you have minutes before they go bad.
Well, that's why they
Really?
just flash freeze everything
exactly.
out on the ships.
It's all they freeze it on the ship because there's not enough time to get back into port before it's gone bad.
Well, it's supposed to live underwater, not in air. So
it's supposed to live in salt water.
Yep.
There's I think it's salmon, maybe the reason that they die after they spawn. So they go in from the ocean, they go up the river into fresh water.
Right.
And the lack of the salt in the fresh water
starts the decay.
Yeah, they basically just like rot and die.
Yep.
Because there's so much bacteria on them that the salt water is supposed to keep it at bay.
Right.
But they go up to fresh water for God knows what
Yeah,
reason.
why? That seems stupid, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Just stay in the salt water.
It almost makes
Plenty
you
of
think
fish
that
do
maybe
it.
they started out as freshwater creatures and then turned into saltwater creatures somehow.
Yeah, so they can only live in the salt water because of like some disease they all have.
Yeah, or something weird
possible.
happened because it just doesn't make sense because not very many things can cross from salt water to
not
fresh
a lot.
water.
Not a lot of them.
Yeah.
Melissa wants me to bring up a statistic about Disney Plus.
What's that?
The amount of total viewing hours that Bluey gets on
Oh God,
percentage wise. It's percentage wise.
Mm-hmm.
Bluey gets 29% of all Disney Plus viewing
Oh
hours.
my God, that is a big number.
Bluey does?
Yep.
Wow.
It's because no one is watching Disney Plus, for one.
I know we only have Disney Plus for the grant. I would get rid of it in a minute if it weren't for. Well, now Hulu comes on Disney Plus.
Yep,
Yeah.
Hulu's part. That's one reason they did that, is because they were like, we
Yeah,
gotta.
I look on Disney Plus. When it first started, there was so much content on there. It's just all garbage now, and it's all political.
It's great for kids. The old movies, like we watch, we have Ethan watch an old Pixar movie maybe once a week or something like that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we don't really use it that much anymore either. But it's still like, on the car ride from the cabin, he watched Toy Story.
Is he still into Mickey Mouse?
Yeah, he
Oh.
still likes Mickey Mouse's Club, but not as much as he used to. God, it used to be just like all he wanted to watch. But, so without Ethan, we'd probably still have it, just because every so often they come out with something good, or we want to watch something, from our childhood or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the new stuff, if not all of it, is just not at all good.
No.
The Last Airbender was good. Not as good as the original show, but it was good. That was on Disney Plus.
When you guys were over on Saturday, I don't remember what it was that he wanted to watch. Might have been Bluey. Yeah, because he and I think he got into this watching Tumbleleaf down in Florida.
Yes,
But
he
when
did.
You guys were downstairs, and Ethan and I were upstairs watching TV, and that I remember you hollered up, okay, 2 more minutes, and you got to stop watching television, which is good. You got to keep them under control. But one of the great touching things, he wanted to watch Bluey, so we turned Bluey on.
Oh no, you were watching the shorts, Daniel Tiger.
Daniel Tiger, that's what
you
it
were
was.
watching the Daniel Tiger short. You're talking about your new
Daniel
place,
Tiger.
like
Yes.
2 days ago,
Cute.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that you were watching Daniel Tiger
on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We're upstairs, and I'm sitting there, and he obviously must have said Daniel Tiger or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I started it, and he came over, sat right next to me, grabbed my arm, and put it over his shoulder.
Yep.
Yeah, he does like to. That's really the
He
only
likes to
snuggly
snuggle.
time is when he needs a little
Yes.
downtime and a little TV
Yeah,
time. That's the
otherwise
only time he's
he's-
snuggly.
Otherwise, he's just all the time.
He does like to go.
Yeah,
there's
even
no
reading
doubt.
books and stuff. He used to be a little bit more into like sitting and
Yeah,
reading a
not
book.
really anymore.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, we tried reading books last night, and he was like stomping on the book, and he wanted to run around me in a circle until he fell over instead of read the book.
Little kids, man. That's all I
He's
have to
just got
say.
so much energy.
What is that guy that I was telling you about? He's on social media and he's on Instagram and he does those. He acts like a toddler.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
And
the guy
I
you were
showed
showing
you.
me.
I
Yep.
showed you the one. He's like,
Yes.
what was he? He was talking about going to bed. He's like, I don't care if you read every single book in my library. I'm not going to sleep.
That's true. Yeah,
That is funny.
he used to be, you could just sit there with him, sit there in the chair and we'd read it. And he still sometimes is like that if he's tired enough. But lately it's just like he's never tired.
No,
He doesn't want to sit. He just
That
wants
is
to
true.
do stuff. It
No.
could be 8 o'clock and he's
I know.
kicking his blankets off because he wants to keep doing stuff.
If they could just harness that power,
Yep.
they could.
But then the funny thing is, if you get him to close his eyes for more than 10 seconds, he's lights out.
Really?
So he's clearly tired, but he's just got so much physical energy left.
I just wonder, has anybody taken the adrenaline
Like, how much do they have in their
amounts,
systems?
like measured how much adrenaline is in a toddler? I mean, doesn't
Oh,
it just seem
God.
like they're running on pure adrenaline at all
Yep.
times?
I think it's just because they're so light. I mean, like, imagine if you weighed 30 pounds. You could run for 100 years.
Yeah,
if
you
Well,
wanted.
could.
that's true.
Because the thing about muscle is that it doesn't scale. Like, if you double the amount of muscle you have, you don't get twice as strong.
No.
You get like 1.4 times as strong or something like
Yeah.
that. So, I mean, if you think about like scaling up, you have a 30-pound toddler, you scale them up to an adult, they got like at that point, what, probably, 5 times as much muscle,
Yeah.
but they're not 5 times stronger. They
No.
weigh 5 times more, but they're probably only like 3 times stronger. So it's more effort moving around, because humans are like relatively heavy animals.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah, it does amaze me. It just absolutely amazes me. Well, I remember as being a kid and just being able to play
Yep.
outside and do cartwheels and
Mhm.
round offs and just run around like a lunatic all day long in the summertime.
Yep.
Ride your bike for days and not ever have a sore muscle. It was wonderful.
That is going to do it for today's show. I think that was a good family show. We like that. It's called The Family Show, and that was a lot
It was
about
about family, that's for sure.
No question about it.
Well,
But
we spent a lot of time with the family and 4th of July week. Apparently,
Yeah.
a lot of people did too because everybody was coming back in from
Oh,
out of
God.
town yesterday.
We
Yeah.
left up north on the 4th.
Oh,
And
you-
on our way back down, we must have passed 1 trillion people going up north on the 4th of
oh,
July.
I suppose.
Oh, I
yeah.
tell you, we came back on the 4th from flying
Yep.
from Spokane, and honest to God, it is glorious to
Mhm.
fly on the 4th of July.
Yeah, no one's flying on the 4th.
No one's around. It's great.
They're all driving up to the cabin or going to their family's house or
Yeah,
whatever.
everyone's leaving. That's the perfect time because you can do a morning flight. You can come back
Right.
from a vacation. So you've got the whole week off for the 4th of July. So you leave on Friday. You come back on the 4th of July in the morning, and you still have the afternoon and the whole rest of the weekend to do
Mhm.
something.
Yep.
It's perfect.
No, it was absolutely terrific. There's no question. It just, well, there's nothing more I can say about it. It was just wonderful. Especially when the 4th of July is on a Thursday. Then you really get a lot of travel
Yeah.
because you got the 4-day weekend.
Mhm.
Yep.
All right. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Got a picture in my pocket reminds me of this was before. And every time I hear the same reminds me how you talking.